Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Seven Figure Club podcast, the show where we dive into the tactics that 7, 8, and 9-figure business owners have used to scale their companies. Today's guest, Antwan, is the managing partner and sales director behind the company Lux Voni. Lux Voni is one of the top 5 funnel marketing firms in the world. His company has been blessed enough to partner with Ty Lopez, Ed Milet, Jordan Belford, and hundreds of other industry titans. So if you've ever wondered how to build a world-class sales team so you can take your company to the masses, then you're gonna love today's episode. So let's dive right in. What's up, guys? We're back for another episode here at the Seven Figure Club, live from the podcast mansion. I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend himself, my boy Antwan.
Happy to be here, bro.
Thanks for joining me, man.
Absolutely.
So I want to start back at the beginning. One thing I notice about a lot of successful entrepreneurs, it seems like they always were an entrepreneur as a kid. Like they always sold soda or did some sort of door to door. Like when I got started, I was even when I was 5, I was flinging my arts and crafts in front of my house.
Selling cookies in school.
Yeah.
Selling high shoes out of your backpack.
Don't get me started. But where did it all start for you? Like obviously you built this big successful career, but take me back to the beginning. What got you into the world of sales and entrepreneurship?
Sure. My stepfather owns a chimney and roofing company called A1 Affordable Construction out of New Jersey. And I was along for the ride and also a decent part of scaling the business. We've got about, probably do 4 states now, 250 trucks on the road.
Damn.
Yeah, 3 different locations, offices, 1 in each state. And we were able to scale that through doing a lot of business to business deals. Mm-hmm. So for me, growing up, let's say high school, right? A lot of entrepreneurs will start to find themselves in precarious situations which entrepreneurship led them out of. So it's, for me, my precarious situation was, if I wasn't playing football or doing some type of sports activity, I had to be working. So where maybe a lot of kids would be hanging out in the summer times or their off time and really getting a chance to just do whatever, I was either working or practicing. So when I was at work, I didn't have a big high tier position. I was the lowest of the low at, 16, 17. And I remember my first car was a Acura CL Type S. And I remember getting the car and then being told, hey, see, I work on Monday, so you can pay for this thing. And it probably wasn't Monday. It was probably Friday, Saturday, probably Saturday or come in once, whatever. And so whenever I go into work as a kid, I would have to go break up concrete, go and shovel roofing, asphalt, and not asphalt, but your shingles, your asphalt shingles and whatnot, clean up chimneys at the bottom and whatnot. So it was all dirty work. It was all labor intensive work. I didn't like to do it, really. I hated it. So one day I was talking with one of the guys, and I was always the youngest, and there's always the guys 45, chain smoking cigarettes, Jersey on the job. So I was this is terrible. And he said, why don't you go take flyers and pass them around? I was like, I could do that. I said, yeah, go take a stack of flyers and go hit all the doors. And this was the sales guy. So now I see he set me up. Yeah. So I took those flyers and I started doing all the doors in the neighborhood whenever I was in his truck. And I started doing that more and more to the point where, my stepfather, he said, hey, the guys that say you're passing out flyers all the time, are you talking to anyone? I'm like, no. He's like, well, why aren't you? Yes. I was like, well, what am I supposed to say? Or just say we're doing work down the street, and if you need any work on your house, we're happy to help you. We'll send somebody over to you. Okay. So started passing out more flyers and started talking to people. And hey, we're down the street, and would you like? We can come by and we can eat. You got any issues going on in the house? And as I started to get better at that, I'd say, hey, you know, almost sounds like we got a BMW alarm going off here. Okay. We don't want to make the neighbors mad. So I started doing that more and more. And what I noticed was I started to get people to say, hey, yeah, I've got this or I've got that and I need help with this or that. And started making more money. The sales guys actually would take care of me. So I started giving them a call on their cell phones whenever I could.
Yeah.
It'd be like 5, 6 streets down. Hey, I got a Miss Ann over here, and she's got like a bad leak on her roof. Come check it out. And they come over and sell the job, and hey, here's $100. Here's $100. So
now I'm trying to hustle to get 100 on helpers. So I leave the day with like $300-400. Let's go.
So which was great, and that is what really got me into entrepreneurship, which was not wanting to do the manual labor while I was there working construction job and trying to figure out a way out of that.
Yeah.
So I noticed at that time early, hey, I can make more money with my brain and doing this than I can with actually showing up and doing the work.
Yeah, and that's one thing I noticed about a lot of entrepreneurs. Like a lot of successful entrepreneurs cheated in high school, and the system, punishes that. But I think a lot of entrepreneurs just looked at it as like I found an easier solution.
Hey, give your hardest task to your laziest employees.
Yeah, and it seems like that is a thing with a lot of entrepreneurs. It stems from this initial place of just not wanting to do manual labor, trading their time for some sort of reward. Instead, they want to find a more efficient solution to be able to get the result that they're looking for.
They say statistically, most entrepreneurs do like C grades, average in school.
Yeah.
We're typically individuals who don't like to take others' direction. Yeah. We want to forge the path on our own. We want to find a solution, an easier way to do something that's annoying us and giving us a problem, or something that we just simply don't want to do.
Yeah.
So we're more naturally inclined to delegate, more naturally inclined to problem solve and find solutions to our issues where, most people who aren't in entrepreneurship kind of just take it at faith. Oh, this is what I happen to do. Like, no, that's not what I have to do. And I need to figure out some other way.
Yeah. So what did you do after that? So you got that, and then what, did you go to college, or did you just go straight into entrepreneurship?
I lasted 2 semesters in college. And kudos to everyone who went to college. My wife has a master's degree plus 30, psychologist. God bless. I know what it's like to have to go through that. And it's not easy. It's like school is not easy. I started to really find myself when I realized, like, if you think of the construction business, right? So like, hey, cool, started in construction, got out there banging on doors, noticed, hey, light at the end of the tunnel. I should probably start talking to people more. If I can bring in new stuff, then I get paid more than if I were to do old stuff. So how do I bring in more new stuff? So I started to find different companies that would be able to refer us into a client's home rather than me going into a client's home. So I actually negotiated with my stepfather and said, hey, if I get new business in the door, will you pay me commissions on the new business for anything that I bring in? So yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. So, and it wasn't as high of a commission as if the person going out there selling it, because the person still had to go out there. Like if I get the lead, someone's still going to go out there and sell it, and service it. But I just wanted to make off of doing it in. So I went and I found local plumbing companies, other local companies to refer us their jobs. So I would say, hey, our family owns a construction company, we chimneys and roofing. If you are servicing the furnace, the hot water heater, blah, blah. Hey, did you know you're leaving your clients at risk, actually? And so every time you pull that pipe up, you know the soot and the corrosion that's at the bottom, those little orange flakes. But yeah. And so you know that's erosion from the actual terracotta flues inside the chimney. He said, yeah. I said, so what does that mean? Well, it means that we just got to clean it out because that's where the blockage. I said, no, that means that you're having a blockage and continuing to have to come and service this unit, which is fine and dandy, service the unit, but at the same time, understand that you've got a cavity in here that your unit's blowing condensation into, and you've got a bunch of oil and residue in here, and the protective lining is actually falling apart. So you're pretty much, you need to clean it out, get everything out of there.
Yeah.
From the top all the way to the bottom, not just whatever's sitting at the bottom.
Yeah.
Clean it out, and now you'll have a better promotion of your draft to get these toxins out of the home. And I say you're underservicing your clients, and you're leaving yourself open to liability because who's the last person to touch it? You. So every time that you see that inside the bottom of the tree, give us a call.
Wow. No, that's so genius, because I think the natural reaction is to just do what they're doing, which is go to one person at a time, right? But if you can find the right referral partners, one good referral partner is better than 100 clients.
1,000%.
You know what I mean? Because they'll bring in so much business for you, and they will sell it for you.
Which was typically the case. So like we would do a flat rate, 129 chimney cleaning, have all the guys pitch it while they're there. Hey, do you want to come out, do a 129 chimney cleaning, your pool cat, blah, 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 sign it up. And the guys made money off that,
Yeah.
So, which is great. On the other side, flip side, when you start to find this entrepreneurial journey or your entrepreneurial legs, it usually just doesn't stop there. And it keeps going and spills into other aspects. So like once I started realizing that, hey, I can connect the dots in these two things, was about around the time that my stepfather started to get into actually renovating houses and using the construction business to renovate and to get into real estate. And I got my real estate license too. Said, hey, well, why are we giving money to somebody else, another realtor? Give it to me. Yeah, give it to me. So I started to find these different ways to plug myself into what was going on in the businesses that were created already.
So I think the smart thing that you're doing that's a little different than, say, maybe a beginner salesperson, is you were finding ways to plug yourselves into infrastructures that already had the pipeline of lead flow.
Exactly.
Versus just having to grind to bring that in yourself.
Right. Because who wants to do that?
No, and that's I think the worst part of sales for most people is it's having to do the 300 calls a day or find and work these cold leads. And then you're just like having to build all that trust and rapport from scratch, versus if you could find a way to insert yourself in the next step of the process of some sort of sequence, then it's the next natural step in the process, and they will bring all the pipeline for you, and then you already have a warm lead that needs what you have to buy.
You're a broker.
Yeah.
If you could find something to broker,
Yeah.
that's a good position.
So how do you know if you have a good thing to broker versus something that's a waste of your time?
Well, now that we own a 7-figure marketing agency, I can tell you that. Typically finding things of high ticket value to broker that is anywhere from 2,000 to 20,000.
Yeah.
Awesome place to be. Awesome place to be.
Why between that range?
Reason for it, you start getting into 100,000, 300, 500,000. You're talking cars or houses.
Yeah.
And then you're talking top 1%, negative 1%. I don't know what's to put to 1%, 21% of like the population can afford a product like that. But you're talking more about like 30, 40% of the population can afford $2,000 at any given time. I mean, the average American's got like $400 in the bank.
Yeah.
Take that into consideration. But, you're opening up the pool of your people that you can service a lot bigger if you can stay in the 2 to 20. Now, if you've got 150, awesome. But if you can span that whole range of something, or if you were to say, hey, what's the best price point to get into? Well, shit, if you can hustle, a bunch of $5,000-$10,000 packages, you should be able to make decent money to change your life.
No, I mean, high ticket sales is really the quickest path to building, financial freedom. I find a lot of people, and I had to struggle myself too, was I got into high ticket sales. I got good at generating leads, but a lot of those, like you said, most people are broke, right? So how do you find people with money?
Birds of a feather flock together. Like look at us. We're not dealing with a lot of broke people.
Yeah.
Like we're in a multi-million-dollar mansion right now.
Yeah.
In Las Vegas.
Yeah.
In a gated community.
Yeah.
Doing a podcast.
Yeah. It's proximity.
1,001%. Now, if you're talking advertising, you're talking spending dollars to get in front of those people, it's a different story.
What are the key with advertising? Because I've had a lot of people that are like, oh, these people have no money. I'm spending $5,000 a month, but 95% of my leads are ass. How do you get your ass actually convert into like people with money?
The one real way to do it is to make sure that you're using something on the front end that is able to explain your offer in a way that it shows the authority of you and your business, leverages intrigue frame control to actually get the data. And in my opinion, sales funnels are one of the only ways for a high ticket business to really communicate the type of value that they would have to deliver to any particular recipient.
You said a word right there that I haven't heard before, intrigue frame control. What do I mean by that?
Sure. So think of it like this. If I send you to a website and I say, hey, Jackson, I sell water bottles, and my water bottle is the top water bottle that purifies the water, and why don't you come and schedule a phone call with my sales team so that they can come and talk, so you can talk about it. Yeah, that's what typical people do, and that's what they say. But it's not leveraging any intrigue. They're not like how many people really want to talk to? Not many. So when you're looking at like the call to actions on your pages and whatnot, one of the best things that you can do is actually change your demonstrative, declarative statement to something of intrigue where it's like a yes or no question. So as soon as I get you on the page, I'm like, hey, we're the #1 7-figure sales funnel marketing company. We're top 5 in the country. We've done this celebrity, that celebrity. Check us out, luxvoni.com. They get there. And then once they're on that page, we're explaining our authority. We're showing without a shadow of a doubt that we could solve this issue. But all my call to actions are like, hey, do you want to learn more about how you can implement a 7-figure sales funnel into your business today?
Got it. So you build authority, and then you ask a question about the pain point they're trying to solve.
Exactly, essentially.
Yeah. So you're saying like, hey, here's all the reasons why we have proof that we can solve this problem. Do you need that problem solved?
Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or are you interested in that problem being solved? Or like, hey, I've got the best water bottle that's going to do all the filtration for you. Would you like to? Would you like to have access to a solution that purifies all of your water on demand?
And are there any like copy strategies you've used that you see work really well, or like specific call to actions you see fresh?
Yeah, but that would be probably a whole podcast in itself.
Can you just think of one, maybe?
Intrigue frame. Yeah. Leveraging intrigue inside of your copywriting, which almost nobody does.
Yeah.
Unless you're at a high level, I see a lot of it. But leveraging the psychology inside of your copywriting on the page, the psychology of leveraging your authority, how to do it properly. I see a lot of people's systems who don't explain well the offer. Like they don't even explain the service. Oh, how does it work? It works like step 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well, what the hell is the service?
Yeah.
Like, what does it do? What's the intrinsic value? Like, why should I care about this thing?
Yeah. So you find a lot of times the restraint people have in their marketing system is their inability to explain their offer in a way that creates intrigue.
Yes,
They just assume people have context.
exactly.
And I see that a lot too. It's like we assume people understand our offer as well as we do, but we don't realize we're so entrenched in that things that may seem like common sense to us, like conversion rates, for example, someone might not even know what that means.
Like, hey, my system and process can get you 8% conversion rate on your top line on cold traffic. Well, that means nothing. You know, like, well, what are we measuring it against?
Yeah.
You know, so being really thorough in your explanation of like what you're actually doing is super important, and it's a lack of it.
And what metrics could you look at to tell if your offer is being explained properly?
Are people showing up to the call understanding what you do? You know, if you have people showing up to the call and they're like, "Hey, saw your guys' ad. Yeah, it looks super cool. What do you guys do? What do you guys do? You guys help me? You know, create a course? Do you guys give me something to sell? You know, if you're coming in to get a sales funnel built and you're asking those questions, well, something happened.
Yeah.
You know,
And is that typically done through like is explain your offer really typically done through the VSL?
there's a lot of different sales funnels. You have like a VSL, which would explain from a video standpoint. Here's the problem. Let's say you're walking down the strip with your lady. You're on your way to dinner at the Cosmo, and I come right up to you. Hey, Zach, and you don't know me. Jackson, dude, I follow you, bro. Give me 3 minutes of your time, dude. I know this will be an awesome video. It's gonna change your life. Will you watch it? Like, no, bro. Who are you? Like, get away from me. I don't have time right now. I'm on my way to go do this thing. So if you think of like, you're not a big brand, you're using this video to explain to people what you do. They're watching less than 5% of the video. If you've got a good video, then they go and they schedule the call, or they go and, you know, to talk with you about whatever high ticket piece thing that you're doing. And then what happens? They show up to the call and they don't know why they're there. Hey, I saw that you do this and that. What is this? This looks cool. And they're like, well, you scheduled a call to talk to me about X, Y, and Z. Oh, was that what it was? I don't really know if I need that.
Yeah.
You know, actually, I'm looking for someone to do this, and that third. And that's nowhere in your services. Yeah. So now we just paid, you know, $150 to get some guy here who just wants to ask me questions.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of people will use the video sales letter as a first line of attack, you know, in their sales funnel structuring process. And it doesn't do really well because of said reason. And it's psychology. You know, you're dealing with someone who doesn't know you already. There's no rapport, there's no value there.
Yeah.
And you're hoping and praying that this person watches this 10-minute video to understand why they should be talking.
Yeah.
And then they don't. And then they're like, well, what?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So one of the other things I'm really interested to learn more about is how you built your sales team.
Sure.
Can you dive in a little on some? You're telling me a cool strategy.
So, so back up a little bit.
Yeah.
I was like 25, 26. It was almost 10 years ago now. And I was trying to figure out, I got my real estate license. I started a record label in New York City with my buddy of mine, Jose, and his stage name's Hobie. And so shout out Pravat Records. And I started to DJ, produce, and I had to network within that space. And it was all of who you know. All of it was who you know, not what you know. I've seen some of the worst DJs get booked at some of the dopest clubs because of who they knew. And so I quickly found out that, well, if I'm going to get anywhere in the space, I got to figure out who to know. So through that time, I really got good at talking with people. Like, yeah, the door-to-door sales helped me and all of that. Like, get comfortable talking with people, but like using all of the knowledge that I had from the business side, I said, well, let me use those same tactics of connecting with people for the DJ side. Mind you, we built one of the best underground record labels in New York. We were doing Pasha, Sankey's, Webster Hall, some of the biggest clubs in New York at the time. And some of my buddies are playing like Tomorrowland and big festivals and stuff like that. So some of us made it. I decided when we were about 5 years into it, I got into personal development. And if you've ever been in the club scene, you realize a lot of individuals, a lot of drugs, a lot of people.
Not a lot of personal development.
Personal development there. So of course, getting around individuals who were more entrepreneurial minded. My partner Hobie's very entrepreneurial minded, so me and him really fed off each other at that time. And so I said, I got my real estate license, because we're purchasing real estate, we're doing renovations. I got my real estate license, and I started talking to these realtors. And I'm like, I gotta start going to these networking events and whatnot. I'm like, man, these are like all ex-club heads, that found there's something to real estate. And I'm going to these events and they're parties and people are drinking. And I'm like, this stuff is very similar. So I said, what can I do to leverage these individuals? And so this was slightly before I met my partner with Lux Voni, Dakota Burford. And so shout out Dakota, the consultant online, IG, go check him out. And so I decided, let's create a Monday night class that teaches these realtors and mortgage originators how to put themselves out there on social media. And this was the same tactic or similar tactic that I used to build my sales team. So I had about 40 entrepreneurs in a room in the back of my stepdad's contracting warehouse in a room. Mind you, it was a very nice warehouse, all built out, sexy, nice floors, etc. And so it wasn't like I was bringing people into like some beat up warehouse. It was fine. But the whole inside looked like it was outside, like with like little shop coverings and stuff. So whenever we walked in, someone would be, oh wow, it's nice. So I walked my way in the back, and I had a room probably about this size. I don't know, maybe like 15, 20 feet by like 20 feet, say 20 by 20. And I painted the whole wall as a whiteboard, and I just put trim around it and make a big wall whiteboard. So I would train the chimney guys in there on like what to look for, all the stuff. So any newbies coming in, I'd do all the training inside the company. And then I would have all these entrepreneurs come in Monday nights, office closed, everybody comes in, 40 of us, and I'd teach everybody social media tactics, how to put themselves out there, how to look at it, the psychology of it, why, what to do on what platforms, etc. And that was when I was like, there's something here. So I was able to leverage that education to mortgage originators, and I got them to pay anywhere between $600 and $800 per session of me going into their real estate partners to teach the curriculum. And so while that was really good, I started making really good money then. Like I was making like $1,000 a week or something on at the chimney gig. So not much money. And then I started to get like, $600, $700, $800 every time that I did this in-person class. I'm like, how many fucking weeks can I stack up here, And so I was at a speaking event, and I had met Dakota at that speaking event. And it turns out he was the chief marketing officer for the dude that was speaking with us about. So I said, all right, this dude was cool. I actually met him in the bathroom line. And we stayed in touch, got Facebook, and Instagram and all that. So I started to get this curriculum off the ground. I hit him up. I said, hey, bro, got this curriculum, dude. I know you got your guys over there. What do you think about taking a look at it? He's like, hell yeah, bro. sounds cool. So I showed him a couple pieces of it. We had a Zoom call. I'm like, dude, all you guys need this. And I think he had like 30 guys at the time. And so I go, well, let's set up a Zoom call. So it's so cool. So I get on a Zoom call. I sell like 20 of these guys the package. So Dakota's like, hey man, that was an awesome presentation, bro. Like that was some shit I didn't even know. I didn't think I'd do it. And he was like probably 2 years into living with Jordan Belfort at the time.
Oh shit.
So for me then, I was coming from him, I was like, oh shit, like that's this is good. So he's like, bro, you ever think about selling sales funnels? It's like, what do you know about sales funnels? Well, I don't know anything about sales funnels. Sales is a sales funnel. So it's like, bro, schedule Zoom with me. I'm like, all right, cool. So we schedule Zoom together. Starts showing me about sales funnels. Hey, bro, this is how we do it like this. This is how we do for this. This is blah, blah, blah. He's like, what do you think? I'm like, dude, like, everyone needs this. Like, everyone needs a sales funnel. He's like, yeah, everyone. I'm like, so why does everybody know about this? It's like, oh, it's on me. He's like, but everybody asks everybody what's a website. They all know what a website is, but nobody knows what a sales funnel is. So I go out there first week. I sell like 7 sales calls. I don't know. They were at the time we were charging like 20 grand each.
Wow. Where are you getting these leads?
These leads were from a mixture of advertising at that point, advertising and social media. So we were, after that week, his sister down is like, dude, how'd you do that? And I was like, well, I just hit up people that I'm close with on social media. Like, I have a good follower. And he's like, I've been trying to get this team of guys to do this, and they have it. And you did it in a week.
Yeah.
So he's like, how, like, I need you on board with this thing. Like, you gotta keep this in your back pocket, bro. Like, you think you could do this again? I'm like, bro, I didn't even do anything. I didn't even start. It was just like this, my close people. Yeah. And I was like, really, the team needs to understand how to do what I'm doing on social media and like replicate that. So we dwindled that team down of 30. I came in, took charge of them, started training them, was like super hard on their pass. And we dwindled that down to like 12. So 12 people. So we got a little more than 50% out. Now, from that 12, we kind of got to a point where we're like, okay, well, we have some internal reps. That's good. How do we scale this further, and what do we need to do? So at that time, I said, well, we got to change the offer. So we were doing at the time webinars, scripting the webinar, working with presenting the webinar, and then putting it all into a webinar funnel. That's when webinars were like really, they were, everybody wanted to do a webinar. So, and we charged 25 grand, and we'd have to sit there and script, and it was big offer. It was a lot of work. So, on the flip side, we're also working with Jordan Belfort, working with different venture capital companies. We had started to get into Fortune 500 companies, and we're like, well, we can't fulfill all of this work on this side hustle project that we're building a team around. So we said, well, what do we got to sell them, to make this make sense? So we said, well, there's more than just a webinar funnel. And then webinars started to like die down a little bit, and we're like, okay, this is a perfect time to transition. What can we do? So we're like, well, let's build phone call funnel sales funnels. Let's build VSL funnel sales funnels. If we really need to, we'll build you a webinar funnel, but we're not scripting this shit for you. And, pretty much product purchase funnels. So we started advertising, and at the same time we started advertising for that, we dropped the price from like 20 grand to like 5 grand, industry average. And sales just picked up through the roof out of this. With 5 grand.
Press start again. If you could stop for a second. All right, you can.
And so what we did was we took that $20,000 offer, slimmed it down, delivered the sales funnel, still very high level sales funnel, did it for $5,000 flat. Scaled that up to the point where we were like, okay, there's like real validity here. We can do this for pretty much anyone that comes in. It's a factory now. So we said, well, how do we scale the front end? Because the back end can handle it. So I started to go on, and if anyone's watching, I did $1.3 million in a year with no ad spend by doing this. So I said, I need to get a sales team on here, and I need to scale up the numbers on the front end. So I said, what's the easiest way for me to do that? I went on Facebook, and I went on Facebook groups, and I typed in Tony Robbins, and I typed in Grant Cardone, and I typed in Ty Lopez, and I typed in Sean Volser, and I typed in everyone who I possibly could think of. And I went and I joined their groups. And I put together a script, and it was pretty much like, hey, I have something that would be really valuable to you if you're trying to get into internet marketing. If you know anything about sales funnels, I can help you make 6 figures this year. Is that something that you'd be open to and want to learn about? Send the message out. I went on the group, made sure I didn't message the admins. Number one. Number two, I go into people with things in common on that group. And so this way, when I send someone a message, if I've got 30 friends in common with them, they're more likely to open the message.
Yeah.
So I sent them the message, sending out the message every day. And I scheduled calls with myself. And I pitched every person who scheduled with me on an opportunity for $1,500 one time. Come in, I'm going to give you scripts. I'm going to give you marketing material. I'm going to give you funnels to use. And all you have to do is just go out there, just the same way that I got you to be interested in talking with me. I'm going to ask you to get someone interested in talking with me. Mm-hmm. So we leveraged that script, and I got 30 more people into the group. 30 is like our magic number around here. 3. Maybe you'll look up what that number means. So we got more people into the group. I charged them $1,500 per head that came into the group. And then we did a once a week meeting on everyone's progress. And then also to go over any questions. And then we'd have a Slack group where every day I had vision, mission, purpose, and a belief. And they'd go in and they would message something motivational in the morning, something from our vision, mission, purpose, belief statement, and something that was one of their goals for the day. So we created this group of entrepreneurial minded individuals who are all working with us to get us leads through outbound messaging in the same structure that they were brought in. And then I would pay them 10, 15% if I closed the deal. So they got paid like a closer, even though they didn't close, and all they had to do was refer it.
Yeah.
And that was the deal. Cream always rises to the top. I took like another 10 of those guys and brought them over to the actual sales team and then put money behind them in advertising. Taught them all how to close and then put money in advertising. So
what were the guys that were the cream of the crop doing differently than the guys that fizzled out?
the work,
And what's the work?
messaging.
Yeah, just hitting your numbers.
Your numbers.
Yeah.
It's really simple. Like if you send, the goal was to send 200 messages a day. That was the goal. And this was before like Facebook started capping you off on all that. So 200 messages a day. We get at least 1 or 2, 3 book calls from that. If you're playing in the right pond.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, that's great. What I think is interesting about that model is that there was a paywall for them to work with you.
yeah.
Because I implemented the exact same strategy for my business. I did about $250,000 with it with our funnel offer. Also, the mistake I made though was I was just hiring them solely off commission. And so I was pouring my heart and energy into all these people, but it wasn't high quality people.
Right.
And so I went through 90 reps in 6 months. Right. And I put it in a filter. I was like, you have to go through this 3-day training process. If you miss any of the second day, but then I would get people through the filter, they'd show up and then they quit after a week.
Yeah.
And I did that and I got it down to 6 guys and we did good for a while. But the problem was, I don't know if the market got saturated or, just this last, year, people just got more tight with their money, but I was the only one closing anyone. And so I was building this infrastructure to allow me to remove myself. The problem is with the scale, I built this infrastructure for scale, but the problem I ran into was, I was hitting about 50 grand months, but with the amount I had to pay out to everyone on my funnel team, the other guy helping me manage the sales guys, there wasn't enough left over to scale the business unless these other reps just start to produce similar results to me. And we were doing huddles every day. We were doing one-on-ones every week. But for whatever reason, I just couldn't get them past that point where they were actually closing at any close of a rate to me. Right?
Gotcha.
So if I would have brought you in as a consultant and you were looking at me being in that situation, what advice would you have given to me to break out and push to those 100K months?
So without really getting into like nuances, it'd be hard to say, but probably one of the most common mistakes that I see entrepreneurs make when they're going at that model is not working on the fear related to the sale. Most individuals who are real gung-ho, I want to close, I want to close, I want to close. If they haven't personally sat and watched 50, 60 closes of you, they won't, it's not going to translate. So I did a case study to prove a point. I had a friend of mine who was selling Kevlar body armor. I said, listen, dog, you're doing good over there, but you'd be doing really good around it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know what you can do, but you're capped with this product. And you're only going to get as far as the vehicle that you're in is going to take you.
Yeah.
So I said, spend a month with me.
Yeah.
I don't want you to, don't leave, nothing like that. Just on your spare time, whenever you can, hang with me on the phone calls. And so I send him a Zoom link whenever he's free. Hey, yeah, you got a call coming up soon? I'm free for an hour. Yeah, here's the link. Get on. Probably over that month, he did at least 3-4 days of calls with me, maybe 2 a day. So say what it's at, 2 a day, let's say 8 calls a week. 36, 38, 40 calls for the month. I got him to do 3 calls on his own. After that, on the 4th call, it was someone really qualified. And so I said, look, you're going to get on the call. I typically take these, but you're going to take this one. It's qualified. They should be able to spend 10, 15 grand. I don't want you to sell a 5 or a 6er. I want you to go in and I want you to pitch them on 15. And then I want you to take that deal away and close them on 11. He said, all right. So he gets on the call, goes through the presentation, says typically our funnels, they're like $8,500 each, $6,500 each minimum. You need 3 funnels here. You're in for
1.5
minimum.
Yeah.
How about I do these 3 funnels for you? Instead of doing 25, 20, 15, I'm going to take care of them all for 11 for you. It's a little less than 4 G's a funnel. But you got to take the deal. You do a small deposit, do $2,000, and we send you over all the ingredients. It's like week 5, he closed an $11,000 deal, got $2 grand on deposit.
Let's go. Yeah.
So they have to see you. You have to lead from the front. You can't expect them to come in, watch a couple of them, and then just be good to go.
Yeah.
So most, salespeople aren't hired; they're created.
And what you said there that I think was key is you gave them a bunch of examples to study. I think the mistake I made was I gave them like 5 examples, right? I needed to give them a larger sample size and put more emphasis into making sure they had a framework of how I was presenting them.
Exactly. The framework be everything.
Now, one thing that I think a lot of salespeople run into the fear of is the fear to ask for the close. You know, what advice would you have for being just, like for eliminating that fear?
Sure. All you gotta ask someone is this something you want to do?
Yeah.
That's it. Is there something that you want to do? Hey, like that is one of the easiest lines you could say. Hey, and so there's a couple ways that you'll want to sell to remove fear. People who are really passionate about their business, their project, their whatever it is that they got going on, and they're selling it, they're usually really good at explaining it.
Yeah.
Like I've got doctors come to us. Oh, I can't close deals.
Yeah.
Well, why not? Well, because like I care too much, and I just want to give it all away to them.
Yeah.
And I deal with like my life coaches that are like that too. So they're like, I don't know if I can really do a high ticket close like that, like how you do. I say, well, let me ask you this. Do you consider yourself someone knowledgeable in your field? Oh, I'm the best. Okay, you should be. Do you feel like you can really help people? Yeah, I know. I've proven over and over and over I can help this people with this particular thing. Okay, great. Have you ever heard of consultative selling? No. I said, well, what do you think you do every day? Why does someone decide that they want to use Dr. Jim Smith? Well, because you sold them on Dr. Jim Smith when they came in the office. Well, how'd you do that? By being yourself.
Yeah.
And how are you able to be yourself? Because you don't think that you're selling.
Yeah.
So let's say we're doing a telehealth visit and it's not something insurance covered. Well, yeah, you got to sell, but I don't care if you're a marketing firm or you're an exotic car repair mechanic, you're selling.
Yeah.
Now, the beautiful thing is that most of the time people are coming to you because they believe that what you do for business can solve their problem.
Yeah.
So what does that automatically leverage you as? A consultant. And so if someone can show up to you, and this is why sales funnels are really important, because they put you in a better position at a high ticket to consultative sell. When someone believes that you have the authority and they believe that you can solve the problem, well, now what are you? Well, you're the consultant. Hey, I'm showing up here. I've seen that you guys do this or that and the third, dude. I got this problem. How do I solve it? Well, they're not asking you to sell them something. They're asking you to explain how this thing can do the thing that it does.
Yeah.
Well, couldn't be a better situation for someone who's scared in sales.
Yeah.
Because now, as if you're an expert who's selling your product, your sales thing, this or whatever it is, and you're the expert, okay, well, now you don't have to sell. Just explain.
Yeah.
And at the end of your explanation, you just have to state, is this something that you want to do? Yes, it is. Okay, good. Okay, great. Is the price an issue for you? And typically in the sales process, you're going to want to pre-frame the pricing multiple times. So that this way, when someone, like typically when I have a conversation, within the conversation, I'll give examples of what a similar system like this costs other people, and how maybe someone else had a business that was doing a similar type of structure and what they kind of went through and the types of pricing they did and what it cost them to be successful and etc. And I could paint this whole picture by pre-framing, and then by the time I get to the conversation, They're like, hey, look, I know this chick costs like 10 grand, blah, 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 blah. Dude, I don't know if I can afford that. Like, that's way expensive. I didn't even bring up pricing to them.
Yeah.
So I'll say, look, typically, yeah, company doing $100,000, $300,000, $600,000 a month, bro. It's 10 G's all day.
Yeah.
So what do you do in a business? 10 grand a month?
Yeah.
15, 20? It's going to be a different story. There's no way you can afford that. So I'm not sitting here trying to waste your time, but if I can do this for $6,500, bro, is that something that you'd be open to?
Yeah.
Is that something that you would want to be interested in?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
What if they're like, oh, I need to think about it?
That's perfectly fine. But do I need to sit here and think about, hey, do I want to lose money on taking you on as a client? You want me to think about that? How long do you want me to think about that? Because the more I think about that, the less of them inclined to want to sit here and do a real solid for you.
Yeah.
So you want to think about it, have me think about it, and not get anywhere?
Yeah. Or do you want to solve your problem?
One of the two.
Yeah.
Because I'm here to help you solve your problem and get you to move forward. I don't care about the money. Money comes, money goes.
Yeah.
But your situation is going to remain unless you do something about it.
Yeah. So outside of the marketing company, one of the really cool things that you're doing here in town is you run it's guided the largest.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah. Luxury car clubs.
Yeah. So
How did you build that? What's the story behind that?
Sure. So last year around this time, so 3 years ago now, moved to Vegas from New Jersey, and I got involved with a club that has exotic cars and all of that, and so I joined the club and seeing what it was all about. I really joined the club because I wanted to just meet other entrepreneurs out here, and so I was in the club for about a year. I noticed that there really wasn't too many people in that club that I was getting a lot of value from. And as the year went on, I started noticing lower quality cars and people who weren't aligned with the things that I was aligned with. So I got together with my buddy, who was also in the club, and I said, "Yo, dude, how would you feel about like kind of doing our own thing?" He was like, "I'm down." And his name's Daniel Hawkins. Hawkins Visuals is his company. He's got a media company, and it was just about the time that he started his media company. And I said, you know, I bet you it'd be really cool if we just find our own clique, bro, because this is not our type of people. Now, out here, you either can go and join a regular club, which is like a lot of regular individuals, not entrepreneurs, just people who are car enthusiasts. And then you can join like Fastlane Drive, which is like all your millionaire entrepreneurs who are super successful.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a Ferrari, etc. They charge you $5,000 to get in, and you know, they put on events and stuff like that. I think they've probably got maybe 30 members now in their chapter here in Las Vegas, but they're big. They're big. They've got like 13 chapters or something like all over the country. So I said, well, I'm not really trying to join Fastlane Drive right now. Like it's not what I'm looking to do. But why don't we just do something on our own? And I said, we can definitely do fun stuff, and like, there's enough entrepreneurs that we don't need to go and pay $5,000. And I didn't like the pompousness of the group, quite frankly, me. I'm super down to earth. Like,
Yeah.
I've got all the shit they got, but
Yeah.
I don't particularly see that. So I got on Facebook and I said, hey, who's got Highline Exotics in Vegas? And so I had just picked up a BMW M4 at the time. And I've had a bunch of different kind of cars, but I picked up a BMW M4. It was something that I really enjoyed driving. And so I said, hey, and meanwhile, at that time, I saw no other BMW, like Highline BMWs. They're all like $15,000 clapped out Beamers, like dragging on the floor, their body panel hanging off. So I got online, as I usually do, went to Facebook forums, and I said on the BMW G80 whatever forum, I said, hey, anybody out here in Vegas? And I got like 7, 8 messages back. Hey, yeah, we're in Vegas, we're in Vegas, we're in Vegas, all these BMWs. So I said, you guys down to meet up for like a cruise? And they're like, yeah. So I got 6 guys to meet up off the forums, all BMWs, and we went out for a first cruise. And everyone enjoyed it, loved it. Over the last year, it went from those 6 BMWs, who, by the way, left the group like 2 months in, and was like, yeah, we don't like what you're doing with the group. I was like, why don't you like what we're doing? They're like, you're growing the group too fast. And I was like, this is not going to be the group for you.
Yeah.
This is not going to be the one for you. So so they left the group, and so it was me, Daniel, and like 2 other people at that point. And so I started to the 2 other kids that were in the group referred like 3 other kids into the group. Those 3 kids brought in 4 more people. Those 4 people brought in more people and more people and more people and more people. I have not tried to grow this group. I'm just saying, keeps growing. There's 96 freaking people in this group right now.
Yeah.
And they've all been vetted. Like, you have to come out to a meet and hang out with us before you get in. There's no dues or anything like that right now. We do cruises, we do networking events, we do like cars and coffee. And from that, we have an exotic car rental business now, also car brokerage. It's called Sweet Life Auto Gallery. So check us out there. And God willing, everything goes good. I'll have our first commercial property end of next week. And we'll have a clubhouse, a event venue space, exotic rentals, PPF detailing, and mechanic shop, all within the same building there. So then we'll, start doing really cool networking events, big events. We'll have you and all your people get out there. And I think that then we'll start to probably monetize the group and do different really cool events and shit like that. But yeah, it literally, from word of mouth, it grew by the members suggesting other people with cool cars. So people with cool cars suggesting other people with cool cars to be part of a cool community. I wanted to make sure that the cool factor was there first.
Yeah.
Because I've been a part of these clubs where the cool factor is not there.
Yeah.
And everyone's just in there trying to hustle one another. So like now I can go and I have a community of 95, 96 individuals where, hey, I need parts for this. Hey, I'm looking for a plumber. Hey, I'm looking for a contractor. Hey, I need an accountant. Hey, I need a lawyer. Hey, I got lawyers in there. I got accountants in there. I got body guys in there. I got mechanics in there. I got guys who sell high ticket, cars and houses. I got some of the top realtors in the damn group.
Yeah.
So it's almost like now, it's a good spring point for like, hey, do you need something in the valley? We can find you. I've got guys who run big software companies that are like Ticketmaster's competitors. They're in the group. I've got guys with McLaren P1, $2 million car. Same guy's got a Bugatti Veyron. Other guys with Ferraris in there. Some guys in there with just stupid money that I never thought would be in there wanting to hang out with us, and they just come out on a Saturday night like, hey, what's going on, guys? And that's what you want. Especially with the marketing firm, they all own businesses. Well, who do you think they come to for the market?
Yeah.
Me, so one of the things that as an entrepreneur, if you can, so like I like cars, right? Like that's my thing. I like cars. I like to drive. Like that's just my thing. So my partner Dakota likes sport bikes and super bikes. He races on the track. We just got hooked up with BPR Racing, and we're going to be doing a lot with them this year. Honda SLR, doing a lot with them this year. So we've been able to take our hobbies and allow our hobbies to generate us revenue while also feeding our businesses. And
That's a gem right there.
And then on top of that, what does everyone wants to see on social? Well, they want to see the lifestyle, the high-end cars, the nice restaurants, the cool events, the parties. Well, what do? Well, now we curate all that. So you create a club that has all of that. So anytime you do an event, you have the podcast fancy event. Hey, you need cars? Great. Here's my cars. Here you go. You know, hey, we're doing a networking marketing seminar. Well, guess what? You pull up, there's 10 sick ass cars in the front.
Yeah.
You normally have to pay for all that.
Yeah.
Not to mention all the YouTube content and the social media content that you get from all that.
Yeah.
So it's figuring out how to leverage all the things that go together and then create a business out of it.
Yeah. What you said right there is so key. It's if you can figure out how to turn your hobby into a marketing infrastructure, you'll be set for life because you can build a community about what you're genuinely interested in that will attract other like-minded people that share those interests. And then any of those people that need your services are going to go to you just because you're part of the community.
That's why people don't care about, what you do. They care why you do it.
Yeah.
So if you can get out there and you can properly communicate your whys, your what is a buy factor. So like, cool, they know why you do it. Well, good. That's enough convincing to like why I want to do business with that person. Like, hey, I want to do marketing because I have an intrinsic calling to help small business owners who wouldn't otherwise have the opportunity to get the help.
Yeah.
Like if you were to go to Russell Brunson and say, hey, Russell, give me your top 5 funnel builders, he's going to give you our company and 4 others. The 4 others are not touching your deal under $100,000. It's not happening. So who else do you have in the marketplace to go to? I know for a fact at that level, you got no one.
Yeah.
So we decided to create an offer for the forward-facing public, for small business owners and mid-sized business owners. So you can get all of those 7 and 8 figure structure, developments and made for your business at a price point that's not going to kill you.
Yeah.
And I felt like that is something super, super important that the marketplace doesn't really have.
Yeah.
Which, not to mention, most entrepreneurs and business owners, they don't know anything about a value ladder. They don't know how to offer stack. They don't know how to funnel stack. They don't understand the psychology of getting someone through a process to actually make a decision and get there. So like this year, I found myself consulting on a lot of business owners on, hey, what do I tell these people first in order to, garnish the attention? What type of offers and like what price point should I have? What type of sales funnel should I put to those offers? How does that work? What should I, how do I structure my back end CRM to like, once you come in and you get A, well, what's B, C, and D? And how do we tell them that and bring them through that, So a lot of people come out and they're like, yeah, I got a $2,000 offer. I always want to sell that. Well, that's great. But like, what happens when someone can't afford that? And then they fall through that rung of your ladder. Like, what else do you sell them? How do you downsell them all the way to spending $20 with you or spending $100 with you? You got to pay for that call anyway. You got to pay for that lead anyway. The idea is to, at the highest level, when we go into corporate, the first thing what we do is to figure out, hey, how does someone, no matter what, how do we sell something to everyone? And what is that thing?
Now, you mentioned working with, Fortune 500 companies, these large corporate clients. How do you get those types of clientele?
Referrals.
That's all referral.
For us, from what we've seen, I've had some really big companies find us on Google, on YouTube also. Like if you go to Lux Voni on YouTube, LuxVoni, you'll see a lot of really good content, like stuff that you can sink your teeth into. So at that level, it's a lot of the times the marketing director that's like trying to learn to like, hey, we know we're stuck in the Stone Age. Like, what is this stuff about? Where do I go to learn this stuff? They'll find our channel. they'll search sales funnels up on Google.
Yep.
Will pop up first. That's happened a handful of times, but really it's having a relationship, and comes back to that proximity thing at that level. Because most of the time, they're dealing with companies, either the companies are subpar and like they're paying money and they're not getting that great results, and they're damn near ready to keep people out. Or they don't know what they don't know, and they just don't know that they can do better.
Yeah. And that right there is the exact reason why we start this podcast. It's to get the proximity around the right people. So I appreciate you for coming on, man. And that was some sauce.